Every morning, Marcus Aurelius would rise, wash his face, and slip into his small study without letting anyone see him. There, he would sit alone with his inner world and meet the real Marcus. He called no advisors, no generals, no philosophers. He summoned none of them. Even the most powerful man in Rome began his day with a single person, himself. Because a person must first know himself and be at peace with himself. The room was small, simple, silent, far from the palace's grandeur, the army's noise, and the Senate's chaos. For Marcus, this room wasn't a throne. It was a mirror that showed him his flaws, a friend brutally honest in a way no human could be. Others might try to be honest, but no one could show him the whole truth. That room did. It struck him in the face with it. Marcus knew that before a man washes his face in the morning, he must wash his mind, because a mind that is not clean can never make the right decisions. A day's destiny is sealed by the shape of the first thought, and that first thought is shaped by what the mind allows itself to dwell on. A cloudy mind leads to cloudy choices, and a cloudy choice ruins the entire day. If your mind is messy in the morning, your day will be messy. If your mind is clear, your day will be sharp. This was Marcus's philosophy. He was a true sage, and he understood everything about the mind's nature. That's why every morning he performed the same silent ritual, mapping his thoughts, cleansing his mind, aligning his spirit, pulling himself back to the center. He didn't do this with ceremony. No one knew, no one heard, no one witnessed it. Yet in that tiny room, the true governance of the empire began. Because a man must first be the emperor of his own mind. Only then can he be the emperor of the outer world. A person who cannot rule his own inner world can never rule Rome. He simply isn't strong enough, because as long as the mind is foggy, no decision can be trusted. And Marcus waged this inner governance, this daily mental battle, with 4 simple questions. Only 4, but these 4 questions were his compass, his map, his guiding star, a battlefield diagram glowing in the dark corridors of the mind, the only light leading him through the shadows. These questions made his mind sharper than an axe, stronger than a sword, because you cannot rule the world, but you can rule your thoughts, and the one who rules his thoughts shapes the world around him. Every morning in that room, Marcus was not an emperor, but a soldier watching his inner shadows, a philosopher observing his own flaws, a warrior diving into the depths of his mind. These 4 questions weren't a burden. They were a liberation. They weren't meant to solve confusion, but to uncover truth hidden in the dark. Because sometimes, the thing that changes your entire life is not the answer, but the right question. Today, I will tell you the 4 questions Marcus Aurelius asked himself every morning. And maybe, when the first light touches your face tomorrow morning, you will whisper them too. Because wisdom doesn't always hide in great books. Sometimes it hides in a single question. Before Marcus Aurelius began his day, he always asked himself one thing: what awaits me today? What kind of person will I be today? It looks like a simple question, but in Marcus's mind, these were alarms, warnings, preparations, reminders, slaps to the soul. Because Marcus knew very well, it is not the day that breaks a man, but entering the day unprepared. No day is perfect. There will always be noise, conflict, obstacles, and difficulty. The important thing is to meet them prepared. When you are prepared, no problem can truly harm you. Nothing can catch you off guard. Whenever Marcus asked this question, he would sit at his table, touch his beard, take a deep breath, and whisper to himself the answers, the same ones he wrote openly in meditations. The people I meet today will be ungrateful, impatient, selfish, rude, full of errors born from ignorance. These words were not complaints, not bitterness, not pessimism. They were Marcus's mental armor. He knew that starting the day like this gave him immense power, because what breaks a person is not that people are cruel, but being surprised by that cruelty. Marcus continued in his mind. They act this way because they cannot fully understand the world. So I must look not at their behavior, but at their nature. This single thought carried him from anger to mercy, from frustration to patience, from judgment to understanding, because the one who accepts people as they are no longer becomes angry at anyone. That's exactly what the first question provided. What awaits me today? When he asked this, two truths became clear in his mind. There will be difficulty today, but I will prepare my spirit for it. Marcus wrote, expecting what is expected makes the soul resilient against shock. If even an emperor begins his day this way, we should ask ourselves, why don't we? If you don't prepare for the day will consume you. If you don't understand people, people will drain you. If you don't understand the nature of the world will surprise you. But if you think like Marcus, the world cannot defeat you, because the burden you know you carry does not crush you. Only the burden you refuse to acknowledge breaks you. That is why Marcus built a defensive line every morning, a mental wall, a shield for the soul. And he began this entire defense with 4 simple words. What awaits me today? If you ask yourself this every morning, you won't be angry at evil, won't be disappointed by people, and won't be shocked by obstacles, because you are prepared. Marcus's first question teaches this. Before the day rules you, you must understand the day. Before the world begins, you must begin your mind. Before anything strikes you, you must shield your spirit. Marcus's first question does not change the destiny of the day. It changes you, strengthens you, prepares you. And that is the first victory of the morning. A prepared soul is an undefeated soul. In Marcus Aurelius's morning ritual, the second question was not the question of an emperor, but the question of a philosopher. Who do I want to be today? This was the deepest question of his entire day. This question shaped the fate of his actions, his reactions, and his inner world. Because Marcus had realized a simple but eternal truth. A man cannot control the events of the day, but he can control who he chooses to be within that day. You are not responsible for everything. You are only responsible for what lies within your power. You cannot command the sun to shine, but you can clear your mind in silence. And from that clarity, your true character appears. And that character carries you further than circumstances ever could. That is why Marcus would ask himself before leaving his room, which character will I live with today? The strength behind this question was simple. The one who chooses his identity chooses his destiny. Marcus knew that thousands of emotions come and go within a single day. Anger, impatience, fear, selfishness, fatigue. All of them arrive. All of them fade. But one thing remains in your control. Which version of yourself will you allow to lead? Which emotions will you allow to command you today? Marcus once wrote, "Which of my emotions will rule me today?" During his morning meditations, he would remind himself, "Today, I will be a virtuous man. Today, I will not allow external forces to change me. Today, my mind and my actions will be mine alone. Today, everything will remain under my control." These were not statements of pride. They were vows, quiet oaths to himself. For Marcus, choosing who he wanted to be was like a warrior putting on armor before battle. This choice protected him from the chaos of the world, because the one who does not choose who he will be is forced to become whoever the world pushes him to be. And under that pressure, anyone eventually collapses. When a person wakes without choosing their identity, by noon they become angry because of someone's words, By evening, they become hurt because of someone's actions. And by night, they no longer know who they were that day. And then they blame themselves without understanding why. Marcus's method was different. Choose your character gives and step into the day. Do not let the day shape you. Shape the day. In Marcus's mind, the question, "Who do I want to be today?" had three fundamental answers. 1. To be a virtuous human being. Marcus wrote, "I am shaped not by external events, but by the virtue within me." Someone could anger him, insult him, misjudge him, but his duty was not to react. His duty was to protect his virtue, because reactions are not character. Control is. 2. To be a patient leader. An impatient man is a prisoner of the day. A patient man is the master of it. When Marcus asked this question, he chose patience, because patience is not delaying power, it is directing power. 3. To be a reflective soul. Marcus knew, he who does not think is only a spectator of his own life. And a man who cannot choose who will be, can never act, he can only watch. This second question, simple, short, but heavy, was one of the things that made Marcus Aurelius an emperor worthy of history. Because real power is not in armies, not in titles, not in nations, but in the character you choose every morning. Marcus's question teaches us this. If the day chooses your identity, you become its slave. If you choose your identity, nothing in the day can change you. So today, pause and ask yourself, who do I want to be today? Someone who gets angry easily? Someone who breaks down quickly? Someone who is wounded by every word? Or someone who chooses himself? The answer may change every day, but the choice is always yours. That is the power of the second question. You no longer become the product of the day. The day becomes the product of you. Section 3, the third question. What can I control today? The third question that echoed in Marcus Aurelius's mind every morning was the heart of his entire Stoic philosophy. It was the foundation of every Stoic thought. What can I control today? This question drew the border between Marcus and the world. Because Marcus knew, man suffers because he tries to control what cannot be controlled and forgets to control what can be controlled. That is why every morning he reminded himself, today, I cannot rule fate. I can only rule myself, for fate belongs to the outside. Man shapes only what is within. Only there does he hold true power. You may not be able to change another person's thoughts, but you can train and transform your own. So why did Marcus ask this question? Because even as the emperor of Rome, he could not control the weather, the behavior of others, the anger of the masses, disease, rumors, war, but he could control one thing, his attitude toward all of these, the meaning he chose to assign them. An attitude is a person's true kingdom, the only empire no external force can enter. During his morning meditations, Marcus would draw 3 lines before himself, one for the things he could not control, one for the things he could control, and one for the things he thought he controlled, but actually didn't. That third line was the most dangerous, because this is where people bleed the most, the illusion of control. I can change them. They should understand me. They shouldn't act like that. Everything must go according to my plan. No, the world does not owe you your expectations. People do not owe you your preferred behavior. Events are not obligated to match your plans. Marcus's third question is what separated a wise leader from an ordinary person. Because the wise understand, fate has its domain, will has its domain, and they are not the same. So what could Marcus control? 1. His attitude. Even if someone insulted him, he could choose his stance. 2. His thoughts. A situation could shake him, but shaping the meaning of it was in his hands. 3. his reactions. A battlefield could erupt. A general could fail. But Marcus's response belonged only to Marcus. 4. His character. Even the darkness of the world could not touch his character, unless he allowed it. Thinking of all this, Marcus would whisper to himself, "Not everything will be in my control today, but I will be in my control." This simple sentence, born in the silence of morning, followed him like a shield throughout the entire day. People, storms, political turmoil, the machinery of empire, betrayal, fate. He let them all flow. He stopped wasting energy trying to bend the river. Because spending energy on what you cannot control is like trying to fill a cup beyond its edge. It will always spill, always waste, always drown you. But when he focused all his strength on the one place he could control, himself, his entire world fell into order. This third question teaches us something essential. It is not the weight of the world that crushes you, but the way you carry it. Let go of what you cannot control. Strengthen what you can. Today, ask yourself as Marcus did, what can I control today? The answer is simple yet powerful. Not everyone, only yourself. Not everything, only your attitude. Not fate, only your will. And in that moment, you become free. The final question in Marcus Aurelius's morning ritual was deeper than the other three. More silent, more personal, sharper, and more naked. It struck him like a slap. Yet his unshakable will never allowed it to break him. That question was, who will I be today? This question was the only moment in which a man could rewrite his destiny, because Marcus understood a truth. Every morning, a person chooses himself again. A new day is a new character, and a new character becomes a new fate. For Marcus, this question was not a duty. It was a mirror. And when he looked into that mirror, he didn't see the crown. He didn't see military power. He didn't see the weight of Rome. He saw himself, his bare truth, stripped of titles and illusions. And the moment a person begins to see himself, real change begins. Why was "who will I be today" such a powerful question? Because it confronted Marcus with two different versions of Marcus. Yesterday's Marcus, the one who made mistakes, grew angry, grew tired, fell short. Today's Marcus, the one who had the power to choose, change, and begin again. This question reminded him, the man I was yesterday cannot rule the man I am today. Yesterday's errors do not bind today. Yesterday's emotions do not define this morning. Yesterday's weight does not have to break today's shoulders. Stoicism is not rejecting the past. It is ruling over it, managing it like a sovereign. And every morning, Marcus did exactly this. He ruled his past, commanded his present, shaped his future, because someone who cannot rule his past will never have control over his future. So how did Marcus answer this question? Every morning, he passed 3 character choices through his mind. 1. Today, I will be wise. I will not speak unnecessarily. I will not be a slave to my emotions. I will think not with haste, but with awareness. 2. Today, I will be just. I will not judge in anger. I will remember that every person carries battles I cannot see. 3. Today, I will be resilient. I will carry today's pain as yesterday's lesson. Whatever fate brings, I will not be shaken. Because in Marcus's mind, this truth never changed. The world will not define you. You will define the world. Why does this question transform you? Because most people surrender who they are to external conditions. The weather is bad, so I'm in a bad mood. People are rude, so I'll be rude. Life is heavy, so I'm exhausted. No one understands me, so why should I try? But Marcus never thought like this. He chose an identity every morning. And that identity was shaped not by conditions, but by his will. This is why Marcus Aurelius's mind was uncheckable, because he never handed his character over to the world. He knew, your character is built in the morning, tested during the day, and judged in the evening. The kind of person you will be today is decided at sunrise. Marcus had a sentence he repeated to himself: I choose who I will be today. The world has no right to decide that for me. The world never decides it anyway. It only seems to. In truth, it is always shaped by your will and your choices. This single sentence held the essence of all Stoicism. The hardness of life cannot make you hard. The wrongness of others cannot make you wrong. The weight of the world cannot pull you down unless you allow it. Everything depends on your response and the meaning you assign to what happens. As long as you refuse to give permission, no darkness can control you. So what does this question teach us? Every morning, ask yourself, who will I be today? What attitude will I choose? Your answer defines you. It defines your posture. It defines your power. If you don't ask this, the world decides who you are. If you do ask it, you decide who you are. And the moment you choose yourself, the strings of life fall into your hands. Marcus Aurelius used these 4 questions, not as a ritual, but as preparation for war, because he knew the greatest battle is not fought outside, but within. And that battle begins every morning. From the outside, Marcus Aurelius's morning ritual looked simple. 4 questions, nothing more. But these 4 questions were the pillars that held up the inner world of Rome's greatest emperor. If even one pillar cracked, Rome itself would tremble. This ritual wasn't a habit. It was an architecture of the mind. It shaped the man he would be throughout the day. Because Marcus Aurelius knew something profound. He knew everything. He was a true sage. A man sets his mind in the morning and gathers his destiny in the evening. These 4 questions were his roadmap, his armor, his compass, the strategy of an inner war. A war not against the world, but against the darkness within his own mind. And every morning victory he earned reshaped the fate of Rome. Each question had its own role. What will I allow into my mind today? Gives he guarded the gates of his thoughts. He stayed away from unnecessary burdens. Who will rule my emotions today? Gives he restrained his anger, pride, haste. He knew the one who rules his emotions rules the world. Which action will define me today? Gives he chose his character at sunrise. He wasn't a man of chance. He was a conscious leader. Who will I be today? Gives the deepest question. He formed an identity and shaped his day around it. Individually, these questions were powerful, but together, they became Marcus's greatest weapon, a mental empire. Because an empire is built inside first. Once the inner kingdom stands, the outer world follows. Every morning, as he asked these questions, he did one more thing. He remained silent. He didn't speak, debate, or give orders. Silence was his laboratory. In that laboratory, he weighed his thoughts, measured his emotions, and forged his character. The wars outside, rebellions, treacheries, conspiracies, none of them were as difficult as the war inside that silence. Because the thing that exhausts a man most is not the world, but himself. Every morning in those 4 questions, Marcus was really asking only one thing. Today, can I conquer myself? When he won, Rome won. When he lost, Rome lost. That was the naked truth of leadership, because the human mind is unstable. In the morning, it is vulnerable. It scatters quickly, breaks quickly, becomes polluted quickly. Marcus knew this, so he never left his mornings empty. He dominated his mind before the world could touch it. For he understood, he who cannot rule himself cannot rule the day. He who cannot rule the day cannot rule his destiny. Why do we feel scattered today? Why do we tire so easily? Why does the day control us? Because we ask ourselves nothing in the morning. We leave the mind unguarded, and an unguarded mind becomes the victim of everything. Years later, Marcus summarized these 4 questions in Meditations. A man wins himself in the morning, and the world in the evening. This is not an ordinary sentence. It is the entire biography of an emperor. Marcus fought every morning to win himself, his shadows, his fears, his weaknesses. And a man who conquers himself cannot be conquered by any army. If you begin asking yourself these 4 questions each morning, one day you will notice the world hasn't stopped attacking, but you no longer collapse. Because now you exist. Your mind exists. Your inner strength exists. Your map exists. Marcus's true legacy was not a crown, not a throne, not an army. It was a mental discipline. And that discipline begins with 4 simple questions. If these questions sparked something inside you, if they moved you even a single step toward being stoic, then leave 1 sentence in the comments. I choose my mind. Because the day a person chooses his mind, he also chooses his life. His destiny is no longer an accident. It becomes a decision.